In the last video, we saw some of the tools which are used for implementing cost reduction plans. In this video, we will see what are the common pitfalls which we encounter while implementing cost reduction, and this prevents us from implementing it successfully. And also we will see the reasons why there is a fear to implement, why cost reduction is not implemented as it should be. Now, first thing with the common pitfalls, as I show in this picture here, it's like you're moving and then there is a pit which you fall into, which puts you into trouble. The first reason or first pitfall we have while implementing cost reduction projects is the focus on expenses. You'll ask me, we are all focusing on the expenses, isn't it? No, while doing cost reduction, don't focus on the money part. Okay. Don't focus on the price of a product. Instead, focus on the consumption of the product. How many kilos of that you are consuming? Why the reason is because if you focus on the money, maybe you will not be able to get a reduction. So you will stop with that. But whereas you see in the consumption how much you can reduce, this will help you to reduce the cost. So never focus on the money or the expenses. Instead, go slightly deeper and focus on what are the costs which leads to that expense. For example, I'll tell you, you are consuming steel for 1 lakh rupees. Okay. Instead of trying to focus on that 1 lakh rupees, focus on how many tons of steel you have consumed. Let's say it is 3 tons. Each ton is costing you 33,000 rupees. And that's how that steel expense comes to 1 lakh. So now focus on that 3 tons. See whether you can bring it down to 2.8 tons or 2.9 tons so that you are not focusing on the expense, you are focusing on the cost. You are focusing on the consumption pattern. So this is the first pitfall we all have. Second pitfall in implementing cost reduction is that the implementation is started as a reaction when the profits are low. Let's say we have just completed the financial year 2020-21 and you find that the company profits have gone down to 3% from the average 8% you were getting over the last 10 years. So at this stage, if you go ahead and do a cost reduction project, it may not be that successful. Of course, you need to do it right now as a reaction, but always a cost reduction project should be started as a proactive action. Let's say last year when you were having a 8% profit, you should have tried to improve that profit margin and done a cost reduction project so that this year, with all the additional cost you are incurring to keep the factory running, you have to pay for the sanitizer, you have to pay for the PPE kits, you have to pay for the gloves, you have to pay for the RT-PCR test for the employees. All these are additional costs you are incurring. But if you had done the cost reduction project last year and got some saving in your process, in your material, you could have covered this cost. Anyway, so don't start it as a reaction when the profits are low. Do it when your profits are on the higher side. This doesn't mean you should not start a cost reduction project when you are low, when your profits are low, but your freedom to experiment is highly curtailed when your profits are low. So try to always implement cost reduction projects when you are doing good. It should be a proactive action and not a reaction. A third common pitfall in implementing cost reduction is the focus on manpower cost. You will ask me whether manpower should be left as it is. No, try to utilize them in the best possible way. But reducing manpower should not be the only focus of cost reduction effort. I have a simple reason for that. Saving by reducing manpower will not fetch you much of a comfort. I'll repeat again. Saving by reducing manpower will not sum to much. Let's say in a manufacturing company, the manpower cost is around 12%. If you want to reduce the manpower cost from the 12%, let's say by 10%, you can do it by reducing the number of people there. You can't reduce the salary, so you try to reduce the number of people. How many people should you reduce? You will say that if the 12% cost was coming from 100 people employed, the simple answer is that you reduce 10 people. But remember that not all manpower is paid the same wage. And you have different levels of manpower in the organization. You have from the lowest trainee level or the shop floor blue collar level, all the way up to your MD and CEO, who are also paid employees. Now you have white collar, you have managerial, you have blue collar. In that blue collar, you do have supervision. So your direct labor may be out of 100, only 55, and the balance go into the indirect labor. In that indirect labor, the managerial and the senior level will definitely costing you about 30 to 40% of the 12%, which you can hardly touch. So the focus will be on reducing from the 55 available direct manpower, which will not fetch you much money and will also reduce the direct manpower involved in the production. So this leads to shortages, and this leads shortage of manpower, and this leads to a reduction in the output. So reduction in the direct labor will not fetch you much saving and will put you in trouble. Also, by reducing 10% of your manpower cost, what is the net saving you're going to get? It is just 1.2% of your overall cost. So for just 1.2%, if you are going to incur a lot of headache as well as shake the board, it's better not to do it. Instead, focus on your raw material, which is costing you 25%, as well as transportation, which is costing you another 23%. So you have 48% there. Focus on that so that you can get a much better saving. So reducing manpower is not a solution at all. It's a big pitfall and gives you more headache than saving. The fourth common pitfall we have is focusing on the non-operational changes. Focusing on the non-operational changes by reducing manpower in sales, by reducing, let's say, in your marketing, in your advertisement budgets, reducing cost in non-operational areas or bringing non-operational changes, believe me, it is not a permanent change. It is not permanent. Let's say your marketing expense was 1 crore rupees and you try to reduce that cost and make it down to 75 lakhs. After 1 year, you find that your sales has gone down and you will be forced to increase the marketing expense to 1.2 lakhs, 2 crores to cover the lost market. So always focus your changes in the operational area where the changes are permanent and you can control it. The reactions from outside agencies are minimal when you do operational changes. Okay, don't focus on the non-operational changes. Fifth pitfall, which is a very big pitfall, is not having a devil's advocate. Now, I suppose all of you are familiar with this word devil's advocate. Devil's advocate is simply a group which advocates not to implement that change. Okay, a devil's advocate highlights what are all the mishaps that can happen by implementing such a change. So there must be some factor which will have a very bad impact if you bring in that change. So that factor should be always considered and measured to see the impact of the change. For example, let's say you are making a steel table using 4 mm thick steel. You decide that you can bring down the thickness of the steel from 4 mm to 3 mm and implement the change. Now, what should be the devil's advocate for this? Let's say the steel table is the purpose of the table is to hold some material. Let's say it's supposed to carry a weight of 250 kgs. Now, the 250 kg, you find that it is reasonably safe with 3 mm, but your devil's advocate should be the failures that is happening after you made the change. Let's say before you made the change, when you were working with 4 mm, there was a failure rate of 1 per 1000. After the change, if the failure rate is increased to 3 or 4 per 1000, it means that your change is not workable. Your change is not a safe change. So better go back to the 4 mm thickness itself. So this is the devil's advocate. Always link it to the quality, link it to the durability, link it to the life of the product. Another pitfall, number 6, is sacrificing quality for the sake of cost reduction. As in my previous example, if your quality is sacrificed, then it is not a cost reduction effort. It's a suicidal effort. What is quality? Adhering to the specified conditions. This is quality. If somebody tells you to give him 50 microns coating thickness, if you provide 49, it is not quality. If you provide 55 also, it is not quality. So it should be 50 or with a tolerance of plus or minus 2 or with a tolerance of plus 3. So 50 up to 53 can be called quality, but 50 to 55 is definitely not quality. During my tenure as a sales manager for towers, we used to have towers tested for destruction. And some designers used to design the towers with a lot of factor of safety, that even after 110 or 112% increasing the loads to 115%, the tower doesn't fade. So the owners, the utility authority, they will say, okay, stop the testing now. Why to destruct this tower? It's over safe. Is it the right quality design? No. So sometimes you sacrifice quality and the tower starts failing at even 90%. So this is also not quality. So you should not sacrifice quality for the sake of cost reduction. So these are the 6 common pitfalls you will experience in implementing cost reduction projects. And next question is why it is not practiced. So over the last 35, 38 videos, we were discussing about the benefits of implementing cost reduction and how it should be implemented. I have a question now. Why cost reduction is not practiced by enterprises? if this is much better than increasing sales, if it is much better than trying to increase the market share or increasing the prices, increasing revenue, why then is cost reduction not practiced? Simple 5 reasons you have. Cost reduction is an effort to bring about a change for improvement, for the better, for the betterment of the process, for the betterment of your quality of material. We are trying to improve the process or material so that you are getting a same quality at a lower cost. So why is it not practiced? Basically, first reason is a fear of failure. People fear that they may fail, and so they don't want to risk that failure. Imagine if people have not risked failure, we will not be a generation as we are today. If the Wright brothers had not risked failure, they would have never flown the first airplane. If the astronauts had not feared failure, and if they had feared failure, they would not have ventured to the moon. So fear of failure is holding us back in implementing cost reduction projects. Most of the fears are overblown. So go ahead, implement it. The first reason why cost reduction is not practiced by enterprise is the fear of failure. The second reason, even before implementing, you have a fear of rejection. Fear of rejections by your superiors, that this idea may not work. So because of that, you don't implement change. Imagine for fear of rejection, you don't bring about a new idea and continue in the old way. What kind of risk you are taking? You're continuing in the old way and your company goes out of existence. So fear of rejection is there. That is another reason why it is not practiced. So remove that fear from your heart. Third one is fear of ridicule. This is from your colleagues and subordinates. Fear of ridicule. People might laugh at your idea. You might think that people may think that I'm not a good manager to bring in such a idea. No idea is ridiculous. Go ahead, implement it. See whether it is possible to bring the change or not. If not, improve. Or if it is not possible, go back to the original. Why do you fear? So fear of ridicule from your colleagues is another reason. Fear of resistance. Fear of resistance from your subordinates. They may not like the change and they might object. We had 2 videos only on how to overcome resistance. So fear of resistance is another reason why it's not practiced. And the fifth reason is to maintain the status quo. Why to rock the boat when it is going okay? You are getting 3% profits and you are happy with the 3% profits. Why to bring about change and risk that 3% and bring it down maybe to 2%? Why don't you take the risk to take it up to 5%? You look at the negative side and say the 3 may go down to 2. I would suggest that they look at the other side, the 3 may go to 5, which is better. So never accept status quo. Okay, either for the process or for the product. Always try to improve and try to improve so that you can bring down the cost. So better to maintain the status quo is another reason why it is not practiced. So these fears, if they are overcome, you can implement cost reduction projects successfully and take your company, your enterprise to new heights. So I just sum up cost reduction and constraint elimination. What is the objective of cost reduction? Is basically to minimize consumption and maximize utilization. A virtue of cost reduction should be it is a permanent reduction. It is not coming from temporary change. The third one should be the reduction should be on the unit cost of the product or service and not expenses. Fourth one should be implement to improve the competitiveness of the enterprise. Implement cost reduction to improve competitiveness. Fifth should be that you should keep eliminating constraints until it moves out of the organization. It should move out and become a market problem or a government problem, not your problem. Know your inputs in quantities as well as in the rate. So 100 kg and 200 per kg should be the input value, not just 100 into 200, which is 20,000. That becomes expense. Don't look at the expense. Look at the input in terms of quantity and rate. Know what are all the variables to change and change only that variable. Know the variables very well. When we were discussing, I think, video number 5 or 6 about the variables, we had about 23 variables which govern the growth of a plant and its yield. We are not bothered about the size the plant makes. We are bothered about how much kilogram of fruits it is giving. We were discussing an apple tree. So know all the variables to change and change only that. Next one is the influencers. Without a direct cost reduction effort, you can get a benefit of cost reduction by using influencers. You can have positive as well as negative influences. Positive influences helps you to save cost. Negative influences increases the cost. So know them as well as use them well. Have a devil's advocate. Have a bottom-up approach. From the employees, it should start. The changes should be in the system and not in behavior. Always say focus on the changes to be in the system and not in the behavior. Housekeeping to be a top priority, and review your process, review your profits, review your progress, review your performance regularly. Anything measured only can be improved. If it is not measured, it's difficult to improve. And changes in product to be done as a last priority. Always try to change other things before you come to the product. So with this, we sum up our videos on cost reduction and constraint elimination. For your queries on these videos, you can always come back to us. Our phone numbers and mobile numbers as well as the email IDs are available in any of these videos. So look into that and come back to us. Your queries are always welcome, and please be assured of our best attention. Thank you. Thank you very much.